This video presentation is intended for educational purposes only and is not intended to be the only definitive source of information on the topics presented. This video does not endorse or promote one specific safety device over another. If after viewing this video, you have unanswered questions or concerns on any of the topics presented, it is recommended that you contact other recognized experts on the subjects of injury and fire prevention.
Hi, welcome to Crossing the Line, Palm Beach County Fire Rescue's Community Information Program. I'm your host, Elise Weintraub-Brown. Happy New Year to everyone. Welcome January 2015. So the start of the new year, there is a new enhanced Florida State Child Passenger Safety Seat Law. I recently had the opportunity to sit down with a representative from Safe Kids of Palm Beach County and a representative with the Children's Services Council to clarify some myths and misconceptions about child passenger safety and get some other great tips and information about child safety. Let's watch. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Thanks for having us.
No, thank you. So today we're going to be focusing on the enhancement of the existing child passenger safety seat law. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, so basically now, starting January 1st, all children need to be in the appropriate car seat or booster seat, some type of child restraint up until their 6th birthday. So the change is, it used to be up until the age of 4, and now it's up until the age of 6.
There was always, child passenger safety was always considered important when law took it into consideration. However, there's different levels of best practice and different levels of safety when it comes to the restraints and how they're fitted on children, correct?
Correct, and that's why this year we don't really want to say it's a booster seat law. We more so want people to know it's a child safety law. So if your child fits in a harness at 45 or 50 pounds or even 60 pounds, and their car seat has the ability to hold them in their harness to that level, then they should stay in that harness. The longer a child stays in a harness type car seat, and that's one that has a harness that fits over the child, they will be much safer in a crash. But after they leave that harness seat, it's not okay to put them right into the seat belt. That's where we want to make sure that they're going from a harness type seat into a booster seat. And a booster seat is just going to help them fit that adult vehicle seat belt. And the adult vehicle seat, one, they'll be much more comfortable, but two, it'll offer them tremendous amount of protection.
Okay, so now the law is actually making it literally a requirement to keep children in a separate child restraint or an integrated car seat, something separate that's not that has a harness system built into it.
Correct. So again, just because your child turns 5, we don't want you taking them out of their car seat and putting them in a booster seat if they still fit their harness. The way the law is written is that a child needs to stay in their appropriate child restraint, whether it is a car seat, booster seat, integrated seat, until their 6th birthday. So the goal is to provide them the most amount of protection up until their 6th birthday with the appropriate restraint system, according to our new Florida law.
Okay. So, and the restraints are fitted differently, correct? So the child restraints have, they fit them in different spots of the body versus the seatbelt, which transitioning, like you said, to the seatbelt too soon and skipping that important booster seat stage can actually add to injuries. And how Absolutely. Is that? How do they fit the children differently, the harness types?
Well, a harness seat actually protects a child or connects to a child in 5 places. It touches them at their shoulders, 1, 2, at their hips, 3, 4, and in between the legs is where the buckle stock comes out. So it's considered a 5-point harness. So truly, a child should only be able to move their arms or their head. and they're as snug as can be, and their whole body is protected. It provides them the most protection, a 5-point harness. But once they do outgrow that, we really do want to just put them in that booster seat and the seatbelt system. And when you use a booster seat, you must use a lap and shoulder belt. It's an absolute. So the reason we boost them is because, as you were saying, things fit them differently. Well, when you take a child out of a car seat, they don't always fit that vehicle seat belt. And so their knees don't bend, their bottoms don't fit all the way back, so they kind of scooch down in their seat. And when they do that, the seat belt rides across the soft tissue of their abdomen and across their neck. So what do you think they're doing with that seat belt? Taking it off and putting it behind their back. In a crash, they're only provided protection across the soft tissue of their abdomen. And literally, we've seen children cut in half to their spinal cord. It's called seatbelt syndrome, where that seatbelt does not fit that child. By adding a booster seat, a simple, inexpensive booster seat, the child sits on the booster seat, the lap and shoulder belt goes across the center of their collarbone, center of their chest, and over their upper thighs and lower hips. On top of that, they can bend their knees, they're more comfortable, they can see out the front window, so they feel a little bit more, it's enjoyable. And in addition, they have proper positioning of that vehicle seatbelt now, so they're not going to mess with it and try to take it off. Once they can actually sit in the vehicle seat and not slouch and not take the belt off, that's about the time that they're ready to go into a seatbelt.
Okay, so then that we take into consideration size, right? Size, weight is also because, children that are undersized, and then maturity too, right?
Exactly. So we started talking about the law, and the law now is up to the age of 6. But please remember, best practice is that a child stays in their car seat, booster seat, whatever the appropriate device is, until somewhere between 8 years and 12 years, approximately 4'9", and maybe 80 to 120 pounds. There's such a wide variety on that decision point, the range, when your child can go into a vehicle seatbelt, because everyone's built differently. It depends on how they fit each vehicle. Your child might fit fine in one of your vehicle cars, one of your vehicles, but you may not have your child fit in the other vehicle in your family. So it does get a little tricky towards the end, and that's why there's such a wide range of when a child can go into a seatbelt.
That's, yes, there's no hard, fast rule as far as size, weight, and all that goes. It's just that range, and that's when parents need to take an active role to fit them in all the different vehicles in their family, and carpool families, and see how they fit in the different seatbelt systems.
Absolutely. Regardless of what vehicle, whether it's your vehicle at home or you're carpooling, because you're thinking 8 to 12, this is when kids are out doing sports and riding home with other kids. That booster seat is a great option that they can just throw in the car and the child can sit in, but they need to be in the proper system no matter what vehicle they're in. We've just seen so many tremendous injuries from children in that age group that have not been in the appropriate booster seat or car seat.
And speaking of appropriate booster seats and child restraints are, they look the same for the most part. And then when we hit booster seat mode, I mean, parents have already kind of gone through several years of the whole learning curve and fitting and sitting in the different heights and everything. But with booster seats, there's different ones on the market too. They look different. Some are very little and literally look almost like a restaurant booster seat, and then some look like a traditional car seat, but then they're missing that internal harness. So what are some factors that parents need, to consider when it comes to deciding and selecting?
Yeah, there is a lot of options when it comes to booster seats, and as you were mentioning, some look almost like a car seat, but a lot of them, there's booster seats that are high back boosters or a backless booster. And a high back booster you must use if you have no head protection in the car for your child.
Like a head restraint.
Like a head restraint. Okay. So the child needs to not be able to do that. If you don't have a head restraint or head protection, you must use a high back. A child who also may require a little bit more confinement, not quite ready to be on their own in the car, it's a great idea to do a high back. But additionally, you could even have an older child in a high back. because the seats now grow with the child. The nice thing about a high back is it provides the child side impact head protection. Most of them have been crash tested, and it's literally like an egg in an egg crate. So it basically is a car seat that has wings on the side now, or a booster seat, excuse me, with wings on the side. And in a crash, a side crash, the child's head is going to have very little motion. The less motion, the less injury. So that's why the side impact head protection is such a great option on the booster seats. Secondly, with the high back boosters, is it also helps position that shoulder belt. Remember I mentioned center of the collarbone, center of the chest. A high back booster typically has a area where you would actually put the seat belt through. It's a guide to allow that seat belt to properly fit the child. You know, some kids come out of their car seat at 4, maybe 5, and they may be very active. And it's a really hard transition for a parent to go from a 5-point harness seat where the child can only move their arms and head to now a lot more freedom with a booster seat and a lap and shoulder belt. So that guide helps kind of also provide a little bit more protection and security and keep the child in it. When it comes to a backless booster, we tend to find those to be a good option for our older children. You know, it is hard, and we all know, I'm sure people are sitting here going, there's no way I'm going to get my 8-year-old to sit in a booster seat, but that is the options of those backless boosters. They're really good for the older children that don't want to be seen in a booster seat or a car seat. And we just kind of explained it to the children that this is a great option for you because you can kind of see out the window, you can see what's going on, you know, you can kind of be a backseat driver, and they think that's kind of cute. So it provides them what they need, but they don't feel like they're the little kid anymore. So we tend to use those backless boosters for some of our older children.
Okay, and you made a very good point. So it is very important that parents continue to keep their children in the back. Is that right?
Absolutely. We recommend all children stay in the back until the age of 13 because of the airbags. They're so aggressive. Even with our new technology in vehicles and airbag technology, it's still safer to have your child in the back. Their bodies have not finished growing. Their brains and their skulls, everything is not done developing. And if you're putting them in the front seat and you're involved in a crash with that airbag and it deploys, you're putting your child at risk. Their bodies aren't able to handle that type of power coming at them. So by putting them in the back seat, you can reduce injury, head, neck, and spinal cord injuries, which are lifelong. So we really recommend all kids in the back until the age of 13.
It hits them differently too, doesn't it? Because they are shorter,
Exactly.
where airbags are meant to hit adults more and like the head and chest, but then when you take a shorter individual, then it's just all facial impact, which traumatic injuries affect the airway and can affect emergency providers trying to get the airway.
Absolutely.
And so I think a lot of parents don't notice that.
Yeah, it's not something you think of.
Right.
And I have children, and I have experienced this, and once you let your child do it one time, you've lost the fight. So, you know, there's always, you pick your battles. This is one that you always stay strong on. Keep them in the back and keep them in the correct seat for as long as possible.
And what would you say to parents who realize that maybe they have a weight sensor that will turn the airbag off, or you know, it could be manual? What do we say to caregivers about that?
There are all kinds of indicators now that let you know that there's someone in the passenger seat or not. And the reality is technology can fail, and we never want to rely on technology in that circumstance. We want to make sure all kids are in the back. Again, you could be in your car and it has the technology to turn the airbag off, and now your 7 or 8-year-old has learned it's okay to sit in the front seat, and then they ride in somebody else's car and they don't have the same technology, but that child has now learned that that's a safe seating position and they could be at more danger. So NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, still, even with the advanced technology that we have, still recommends all children in the back.
In the back. So well, hopefully with this new enhanced law, it's got a little bit more of a bite to it, a little bit more teeth. we'll see more preschool-age parents still keeping their children in the restraints, and then when they transition to school age, to elementary school, they won't be, rushing them into the adult seatbelt, and they'll continue in the restraint and then transition to the booster and go through all of the steps, because there are several stages to child restraints. Yes.
Yeah, it is. It's not just get a car seat and when the car seat's done, you're done with that. Now you really do want to go through all those steps and stages, from a rear-facing child up till approximately the age of 2. And then to your forward-facing child with a harness, to stay in that harness to the highest weight limit of that harness. And then from that into a booster seat, whether it be a high back or a backless, until they are able to properly fit the vehicle seat belt. Keep him in the back till 13, and then you can start transitioning them up to the front seat. You got to remember, the kids that are riding are going to do what the parents do. So regardless, we want to make sure all parents are buckling up also.
Very good. That's all a lot of very good information. You talked about the potential injuries if they're transitioned to adult seatbelts too soon. And can you, just offhand from what you've seen in your experience, where do you often notice, I won't say violations, but more or less, where do you see most commonly take place where children are perhaps riding in the adult seatbelt or the front seat? Where is that commonly?
I think what we have seen over the many years we've been doing it is that when the child starts going to school, that's when parents start getting a little lax on it. Because if you've ever experienced a car drop-off lane, it's a very fast-moving process. And they have to get the child out and get them out to school, and everything has to move very quickly. So I think that's where parents start to break down on the power and strength and saying we need to do this because it becomes more convenient not to. And also, the children now are interacting with other children, so they get in the car and they say, well, so-and-so doesn't have to use a booster seat, and my other friend doesn't. And so they're also getting that peer pressure coming from their children from other families. So that's where I think we see the change and where we've lost it. And with this new law up until the age of 6, that's going to be your kindergarten, first grade, and possibly even some second graders. But again, it's just a law, but we want them meeting the actual best practice, which is approximately 8 years, 8 to 12 actually, 80 to 120 pounds and about 4'9". It's just not one to give in on.
That's excellent. That's a great way to close too. So, well, thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully our viewers understand, how the child restraint law, it's still there, it's enhanced, it's a lot stronger now. And if you have any questions about fitting your car seat or perhaps questions about booster seats, you can contact the Safe Kids Coalition of Palm Beach County or Palm Beach County Fire Rescue. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these brief messages.
Hey, Dan, what are you working on there? Working on your home fire escape plan. Very good. Well, let's take a look here. Well, you want to get out by the most direct route, Dan. How's about something a little more like this? Now you have 2 ways out of each room. What about your smoke alarms? Is that the only one you have? Dan, you should have working smoke alarms in every bedroom, outside each sleeping area, and on every level of your home. They should be interconnected so that when one sounds, they all sound. Test alarms monthly. Good job, Dan. Now let's give it a shot. Dan? Dan? Dan! Calm down, Dan. Execute the plan. Good job, Dan. This Fire Prevention Week, take the time to check and make sure you have working smoke alarms and make a family escape plan. Don't be a doofus. Learn more about Fire Prevention Week at firepreventionweek.org.
Just breathe normally, this will help you. Carbon monoxide is an odorless, colorless, poisonous gas. The Centers for Disease Control reports that over 400 Americans die from carbon monoxide poisoning and more than 24,000 visit the emergency room every year. If you are experiencing headache, fatigue, shortness of breath, nausea, or dizziness, you may have carbon monoxide poisoning. If you have these symptoms, go outside into fresh air and call 911. For more information, contact our Community Education Division.
Florida's move-over law protects all emergency personnel stopped along roadways while performing their jobs.
This law requires motorists to move over when first responders are stopped on the roadside with their lights flashing.
Motorists are required to approach these vehicles with caution, change lanes away from the vehicle and move over safely, or slow down while maintaining a safe speed, careful not to impede the flow of traffic.
Hi, and welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. So before the break, we had an opportunity to sit down with Kelly Powell of Safe Kids of Palm Beach County. Now, we also had an opportunity to sit with John Burstein and learn a little bit about the campaigns that the Children's Services Council endorses and the different safety messaging that they like to emphasize out in the community. Let's watch.
Well, thank you for having me tonight.
Thank you for sitting with us. So, the Children's Services Council is a great outlet for lots of different safety messages and resources for the community. As a matter of fact, I know I've heard lots and lots of times different messages on the radio and promoting the What If campaign. Can you tell us a little bit about that and then your role, child passenger safety?
Certainly. The What If Child Safety Campaign is a joint effort between Children's Services Council Palm Beach County and Safe Kids Palm Beach County. It's really about creating a comprehensive website and messaging as far as child safety goes in Palm Beach County. And so every quarter we focus on a different area, and our quarterly efforts are either in the home, around water, in cars, or around the town. And so each quarter it's a different focus. For example, this past quarter it's been in the home, and so we've focused on medication poisonings or button batteries. Next quarter will be around the town. The third quarter, 2014-15, is going to be water and drowning prevention. And so it's really about messaging and getting the word out to alert parents to dangers that they aren't aware of, and then also reiterate safety messages for issues that they are aware of, whether it's unsafe sleep conditions or drowning prevention.
So it's just basically like just an ongoing rotation of messaging and then constant reminders and then...
It's emphasizing messaging. It's also alerting parents to new dangers, such as the rise in children who are poisoned through liquid nicotine. They drink it thinking it's some sort of juice or because it's not labeled and they're come in chocolate or cherry flavors, a variety of flavors. Children accidentally ingest it. Or teenagers intentionally ingest it thinking that they can get high from it. And so it's alerting parents to these new dangers too.
Yeah, all the way from just foreign objects to products to technology and ongoing on and on.
Yeah, we really want the website, whatifpbc.org, to be the comprehensive website when it comes to child safety in Palm Beach County. Not only offering parents tips on how to keep their children safe, but resources.
Resources like not just reading something on paper, but an actual safety advocate or perhaps a speaker that can come out to a community group or a school or a parents group. Is that right?
Yeah, it's speakers, it's parents can get free pool alarms by filling out a survey on the What If website. It's alerting parents to where fitting stations are for child car seats. It's alerting parents to where they could get swim lessons for their children. It's really guiding parents to help protect their children.
And then that's where you all link or sync with Safe Kids?
Yes.
Is that right? Okay. And do you all promote throughout the campaign or with Safe Kids for fitting stations? Like, let's say there's a new parent or grandparents or even family coming into town and someone needs help putting in a car seat, or they've gotten a new car seat, or they're transitioning to a different stage. Do you all assist with that as well?
Oh yeah, yes. We'll direct people to fitting stations, but also they can just call us, and we will do our best to get them to the right place at the right time.
Very good. What else can you add as far as things that you've seen? I believe you said on the go, right, in the car.
Yeah.
That's another push that you all have. As far as safety tips and risk factors when it comes to vehicles, are there some other campaigns that you all promote as well, aside from child passenger safety, but just that revolve around windows, just some things that you can think of?
Well, back in July, we had a major event here at Children's Services Council in conjunction with Safe Kids Palm Beach County, in which the head of the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration came down for his first appearance in Florida to talk about children being left alone in hot cars. And we really use that as a way to highlight our message that if you see a child left alone in a car, don't just walk by, say something, call police, alert the store owner whose store is right there. And in that ceremony, we also honored 2 people who did do that, who saw a child left in a hot car and got the child out. And we had a father who accidentally left his child in a car, and sadly the child passed away. And he talked about his experiences. And it's really about getting the word out. And we use a variety of ways, whether it's through the media, shows like this, or through social media, or through our website.
Sounds good. Okay, so is there anything else that you would like to add as far as child safety goes? Where can our viewers get more information about the What If campaign?
Oh, please go to our website, whatifpbc.org. And there are phone numbers there. And if you have any questions, just call us. You know, I'm here, I'm ready to help. And we've done that. Just recently, someone called, which they wanted a pool alarm, and we made sure that they were able to get one.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's segment. We hope you found it very informative. And one last thing, in regards to belt positioning booster seats, please, once your child exits the vehicle, restrain it in with the seatbelt or the anchorage system that comes with the booster seat, according to whatever the manufacturer recommends, because in a sudden stop or a crash, they can become flying missiles and flying objects and injure other passengers in the vehicle. So with that, thank you once again. I'm Elise Weintraub Brown. We'll see you next time right here on Crossing the Line.